Hello everyone and welcome to the program. This is Week in Review on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Kabir Hassan. This week we are bringing you development from the Office of the President, where the President gives security assurance ahead of the Yuletide season, and also to the National Assembly, where the Senate passes the 58.47 trillion naira 2026 budget for second reading, earlier presented by the President. And away from Nigeria, we bring you details from Libya, where the country's Chief of Army Staff died in a plane crash in Turkey. And also in sports, we bring you the Super Eagles edges Tanzania in an AFCON clash. We bring you the details shortly after this break. Please stay with us. You are watching the live broadcast of Week in Review on Global Television on DSTV channel 365 and on Star Times channel 276. And now here are the details of the news. As Nigeria prepares for Christmas and New Year celebration, President Bola Tinubu has given assurance to peace and security across the country, urging citizens to celebrate the season without fear. The president gave the assurance in Lagos while hosting members of the Oyo Group at his Ikoyi residence. Kike Lomo Okeri has details.
President Tinubu says his administration remains resolute in tackling terrorism, banditry and other security challenges, noting that Nigeria have every reason to enjoy the Yuletide in peace, to celebrate responsibly and uphold harmony throughout the festive period. He also offered prayers for Lagos State and the nation, expressing optimism that the Christmas and the New Year holidays will be marked by safety and unity nationwide.
We will bless you.
Amen.
We bless Lagos.
Amen.
We bless Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Amen.
And I assure you, we will defeat banditry and terrorism.
Amen.
President Tinubu described the Eyo Festival as a vital symbol of Lagos' cultural identity, noting that it serves as a reminder of the state's rich heritage. He added that Lagos State continues to make steady progress, just as Nigeria in advancing, saying the celebratory mood reflects the country's gradual but positive journey forward.
The coming holidays will not be a disaster for Nigeria.
Amen.
God will bless all of you.
Amen.
You stay in peace, rejoice in peace, dance in peace.
Amen.
No alcohol, no danger to anybody's life.
Also speaking, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says the Eyo Festival provides a platform to project Lagos' cultural strength and preserve its long-standing traditions. He further disclosed that President Tinubu has advised that the festival be considered for inclusion in a formal event calendar, strengthening Lagos' tourism appeal.
An opportunity for us to show the very deep cultural heritage of Lagos. They say that the people without a culture are indeed becoming an extinct.
With renewed assurance from the presidency, Nigeria are encouraged to embrace this festive season in peace, unity and responsible celebration. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
In a key step toward approving next year's national spending, the Nigerian Senate has passed President Bola Tinubu's 58.47 naira trillion 2026 appropriation bill for second reading. Topsy Gimba has details.
The passage followed a lead debate by Okoyemi Bamidele as the Senate leader, who sponsored the bill titled "A Bill for an Act to Authorize the Issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 58.47 trillion naira for the services of the Federation for the year ending 31st December 2026.
The 2026 budget is therefore not an experimental document. It is a budget of consolidation, consolidating reforms already undertaken, stabilizing key economic indicators, and accelerating growth through targeted public investment.
Bamidele described the budget as one of the consolidation, building on the administration's reform to stabilize the economy and bolster public finances. During contributions, fellow senators called on the Appropriations Committee to conduct rigorous scrutiny.
President, defense appears to have the largest share. And that is the mindset of this administration, to secure us, protect us, and of course, our armed forces and other security agencies.
This budget, which is earmarked at 58.4 trillion naira, is remarkable because the four main things which Mr. President has set out to achieve. Number one, which is extremely fundamental, the role of government, the primary security of lives and property.
That they understand that this money being appropriated is meant to ensure prudent procurement, appropriate remuneration, and ratio payment to our men and women in uniform who are taking all the risk so that Nigeria may be safer.
The Senate has now referred the bill to the Appropriations Committee for detailed review.
A bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 58 trillion 472 billion 628 million. Second reading taken. This bill is now committed to the Committee on Appropriation to revert to the Senate in 1 month.
Senator Goza Kwabio, Topsy Gimba, reporting for Global Television News.
Still in National Assembly, the House of Representatives has approved the consolidation of the 2024 and 2025 federal budget, extending the implementation timeline to 31st, 2026. Lawmakers also passed key electoral amendment and witnessed fresh defection that reshaped party strength in the chamber. National Assembly correspondent Anita Patrick reports.
Following a request by President Bola Tinubu, the House of Representatives has approved the merger of the capital component of the 2024 and 2025 Appropriation Act. The approval followed the adoption of a report by the chairman of the House Committee on Appropriations, Abubakar Bichi, who moved the motion on the floor.
On a bill for an act to repeal the Appropriation Act 2024, an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 43 trillion 561 billion 41 million 744,507 naira only, of which 1 trillion 742 billion 786 million 788,150 only is for statutory transfers.
The House repealed and reenacted the Consolidated Appropriation Bill, extending the budget cycle to March 31st, 2026. Speaker of the House, Tajuddin Abbas, put the motion to a voice vote, and it was unanimously adopted.
For the repeal of the 2025 Appropriation Act of 54 trillion 990 billion 165 million 355,306 and enact a new bill to authorize the issuance from Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 48 trillion 316 billion 242 million 591,795, out of which 3 trillion 645 billion 761 million 358,925 only is for statutory transfers.
Lawmakers also passed for third reading a bill seeking to amend the 2022 Electoral Act to further regulate the conduct of federal, state, and local government elections. Meanwhile, political realignment dominated proceedings as 6 lawmakers from Rivers State defected from the People's Democratic Party to the ruling All Progressives Congress.
I hereby respectfully request that this notice be received and entered into the records of the House. Please accept, Right Honorable Speaker, the assurances of my highest consideration. Sincerely, Rep. Solomon Tibo.
The House thereafter adjourned plenary until January 27, 2026. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State has presented the 2026 budget to the State House of Assembly, calling it Budget of Economic Breakthrough. The 1.4 trillion budget aims at boosting infrastructure, healthcare, education, and digital innovation across the state. Our correspondent, Amarachi Ibe, has the details.
Governor Uzodinma describes the budget as a continuation of his 3R philosophy of rehabilitation, reconstruction, and recovery. He highlights achievements over the past years, including over 130 roads completed, upgrades of hospitals and universities, and expansion of digital literacy program for youth and civil servants.
House of Assembly, I hereby present Budget of Economic Breakthroughs with a total sum of 1,439,573,590,405 naira and 4 kobo. This represents a 78% increase from the 2025 budget of 807 billion.
The governor also outlines special projects, including upgrades of the Samuel Mbakwe International Cargo Airport for direct international flights, new housing estates, and new government buildings. Security remains a priority, with over 6,000 vigilante personnel deployed across the state to maintain safety and support economic activities.
Looking ahead to 2026, our roadmap is aggressive. We will provide full infrastructure in 6 proposed housing estates at Angara, Nekede, Mbudi, Ngopala, Avu, and Aladema. We have also embarked on the comprehensive renovation of the Ahojoko Convention Center and the Imo State Housing Corporation building.
The Speaker of Imo State House of Assembly, Chike Olemwe, outlines the House achievement and commended the Governor's leadership.
In the course of this year, the House has received 70 motions and 18 bills. 63 motions were passed in the affirmative, while others and various stages of legislative process. Out of 18 bills presented, 11 were passed into law, while 7 are in various stages of legislative process.
Lawmakers are reviewing the 2026 budget ahead of deliberations and approval. Governor Uzodinma says the budget will serve as a roadmap for continued development and economic empowerment across Imo State. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
Libya Prime Minister says the Chief of Staff of the country, army, and other military officials has been killed in an airplane accident in Turkey after visiting Ankara. Prime Minister Abdulhamid Dibba announced it on his Facebook page. Zara Nasser reports.
Dibba described their deaths as a tragic loss, noting that Libya has lost men who served the country with loyalty and dedication, stating that they were examples of discipline, responsibility, and the national commitment. He also said other senior military officials and photographer were in. Turkish Interior Minister Ali Yerlikaya said his country's forces had found the wreckage of the plane, which crashed shortly after taking off from Ankara. Haddad had been the army's chief of general staff since August 2020 and was appointed by then Prime Minister Fayez al-Sarraj. Zahra Nasser reporting for Global TV News.
Sudan Prime Minister Kamil Idris has appealed to the United Nations Security Council to endorse his peace initiative aimed at halting the African country's devastating war and placing it under international oversight. Since April 2023, Sudan's army and the paramilitary rapid support forces have been locked in a conflict which has killed tens of thousands of people, displaced nearly 12 million, and created a world's largest displacement and hunger crisis. Again, Zara Nasser tells
to stand on the right side of history by backing a plan that calls for a comprehensive ceasefire in Sudan and global monitoring of the conflict. The Sudan Prime as a partner in recovery. Idris also pledged to hold pre-elections after a transitional period, focused on inter-Sudanese dialogue.
Sudan seeks neither impunity nor endless war. It seeks a just peace anchored in law and safeguarded by the international community. You are the international community. This collective assembly of the Security Council is the full representation of the international community.
Idris said, unless the paramilitary forces were confined to camps, a ceasefire had no chance for success, challenging the 15 members of the UNSC to support his proposal. Zahra Nasser, reporting for Global TV News.
Nigerian Super Eagles delivered a determined performance to secure victory over Tanzania in the African Cup of Nations Group